Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Pumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. This program is coming to you from the Spotify Sounds of Africa event. As you can hear, the Sounds of Africa behind me. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you about the possibility of paying for TikTok. It seems like they want to make people pay. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Firstly, here's what's coming up in this particular program. We look at the role that's been played by technology to spearhead Africa's course. We also have details on whether South Africans look at brands or whether they use all specifications when they're buying phones. And in our conversation, we have details on the recent World Telecommunications Day. The Billboard charts have been around for a very long time in the United States of America, but South Africa has not had a chart of its own. But now that's changing, and it promises to also include online music consumption.
For decades, music charts have influenced listeners on which songs are popular at a particular time. The music chart premiered in the 1940s when Billboard magazine started adding songs. The song at the top of the chart would signify how famous the track was, which meant it was booming on the airwaves and the musician could look forward to a substantial number of sales. However, in the digital era, which has drastically changed how people consume music and introduced different platforms where music is played, the chart still persists and insists on ranking songs.
From the label side, it gauges the progress of the artist as well on the sound that they are creating, if it's something that is relevant for them to pursue as well. You know, like if we say, like, for example, like Amapiano, how it came in. Afropop was booming, house was booming at that time, you know, and obviously traditional gospel, it's always booming.
When time passed, physical sales like vinyls and later CDs were also included in music charts. Even though charts have been around for years, South Africa has only now garnered the strength to score songs officially. Now, the recording industry of South Africa has its own charts, the official South African charts. It's kind of the same idea as the Billboard Hot Top 100.
Charts are even much more relevant in this digital age, and I must add that even easier because you don't have to go to music stores, you don't have to track CD sales, cassettes, or whatever LPs. It's just digital. It's easier to get in there and track. You can see who is streaming what.
Chart rankings are based on digital sales and online streaming in South Africa through iTunes, Spotify, and Apple Music.
BMET are the aggregators. They're the ones that track the numbers. They're the ones that compile the charts and they send them over to us, and we publish them every Thursday at noon.
Artists believe that music charts matter to any developing music industry as they inform the listener's buying decision.
I think it's important for people to stay updated, to know what's going on in South Africa with the charts or the music in South Africa.
Those who attended the launch of South Africa's official iCharts say it's important to have such an initiative.
This is not only putting them on the charts, because from my understanding, the top 200 is local and international. The top 100 is only local. You know, so it puts us on the map, it puts the continent on the map.
I think music charts are going to give a different perspective in terms of music. So we're going to understand exactly what people want, because when you're on number one, we understand where the listenership is at, we understand what people are listening to and what people like.
Risa says the charts are essential because they inform the music industry and the public of the current success of songs and artists.
For the artist, it will help with bragging rights. When you know that you're a chart topper, you can charge more. When you know you're a chart topper, it reflects that your music is doing well with the audience.
Music charts in South Africa were initially presented by Entertainment Monitoring Africa based on radio airplay only. However, the company closed down. In the digital world, radio airplay can't be the only barometer, as we have often seen online choices being different from what's on radio.
New technologies have played an important role in the current trajectory of Africa. You'd remember that the Arab Spring was largely because of Twitter, and now South Africa's music has been taken to the rest of the world by TikTok and platforms like Spotify.
COVID-19 lockdowns were probably the biggest disruptions the continent has faced. Africa Day in 2020 saw a lot of fully virtual concerts for the very first time. One digital marketing strategist feels more can still be explored in the online concert space.
It's the best time for it to expand. So instead of just having, a concert in a specific location, multiple locations can be explored, especially now that we're not restricted to one specific area. We can attend concerts online.
During hard lockdowns, musicians say the fully digital period was extremely tricky. Sanel musician released an album during that period.
Songs got lost. Certain final versions are not on the final album, but it's only me who knows that,
While Africa has a lot to change and improve, digital spaces have allowed its people to promote the brilliance that was previously hidden.
We've also seen young Africans actually creating new apps, also forging new ways of making money online. So there are so many digital e-commerce platforms that we have seen.
Spotify, a platform that's allowed many of the continent's musicians to stream their music to the world, says they will also host an Africa Day event. They say new tech platforms have allowed them new growth in Africa.
A lot of African countries are unbanked, so that means they don't use credit cards, and this is very true of a lot of East Africa. In Kenya, you use M-Pesa for the most part, so we ensured to make sure that there was that facility so that the fans don't have so many barriers to access.
Things have opened up, but Africa's online content creators say online spaces allow them the freedom to share content in formats that traditional media doesn't allow.
So I think for us, it was having the control of your product. So the idea that you can sit, you can record and dictate what's going out made us choose digital rather than mainstream. So we go on like all podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. So having that autonomy, having the decision making between two people rather than a whole board of a program is why we chose the digital platforms that we are on at the moment.
We also kind of focus on short form versus long form content. So we're also on TikTok, we're also on Instagram. Every platform possible, we make sure that our conversations are there for our audience to enjoy.
They say they can do this in local languages as well.
You could always feel like you're talking to someone who gets you directly. Like someone who understands your language, someone who's talking to you in a language that you feel like makes you feel like you're at home. Even when in Canada, you're in USA, you're in UK, you can feel like you're still at home in Kenya. Then the guys, we are speaking the accent that you are used to in Kenya.
And they can have different conversations that they wouldn't otherwise have if they were in traditional media.
Men are silent listeners, right? So you'll see them in real life. A lot of the time we go out together, we bump into a young guy, 18, 19, he says, you spoke about this, it really helped me. And we always say like, you didn't comment, we didn't see you engage with the content. He goes, I listened and my friends listened. But a lot of the time we find that our female audience are the more vocal, but we have a strong group of young guys that are trying to develop, and they take it, they listen, but men, they listen very, very quietly. That's what we found.
And musicians say they can explore more than they would with traditional media if they stay in online spaces.
I think streaming platforms have allowed an independent artist like myself to be able to have far-reaching, especially when it comes to the music being able to be explored in all parts of the world. It's allowed us to be global citizens in the way that we express ourselves.
For this year's Africa Day, YouTube held a live concert in Nigeria. It was also streamed, though, to their audiences worldwide. And Spotify held their Sounds of Africa event in Johannesburg.
When purchasing a mobile device, do you care whether it folds like this one does, or perhaps whether it has a wide screen or can take photos of things that are really, really far? Here's a producer, Lebo Mokomela, telling us about whether South Africans really care and use all the specifications of their devices.
When I'm buying a new phone, I think I look for camera quality firstly, because I like to take pictures. But then I also look for a phone that's easy to use, like the navigation thing. The setup mustn't be too complicated. It's like straightforward, okay. I can import all my pictures, that kind of stuff.
Because a lot of us are content creators these days, you know, we take a lot of pictures and everything. I feel like also for the aesthetic quality, you want your phone to be an iPhone per se, just because a lot of people have it. You know.
Investing in a good phone is worth it. I mean, if you could do everything on your phone, you don't have to carry laptops or desktops everywhere. So it's a good investment. And like you said, I need something where I'm an architect student, so I can take photos at the spot, or, you know, for content creations or drawings even, I know I can do that with my iPhone.
These are some of the elements young South Africans look for when purchasing a smartphone. Many we spoke to mentioned high-end devices, but the International Data Corporation says that's not what most South Africans buy.
I think the number one priority that we see from our data is that they look at the cost of a device. That is the major factor that we see when they're buying a device. Hence, if you look at the South African market, it's mainly dominated by entry-level devices. And the local brands have tried to capitalize on that, catering for that lower end segment of the market. If we go back to 2020, 2021, the government issued the 350 Rand grant. And if I will tell you how that made a positive impact on the vendors that were selling entry-level device, they actually saw an increase in the demand for those devices.
Because we find ourselves in an era of visual online content production, the camera and memory are some of the popular features that stand out for young South Africans.
I'm happy with Apple products so far. They all integrated. It's like one ecosystem. So whatever's on your iPhones, on your iPad, your Apple Watch, everything works well together.
I prefer the Nokia because the Nokia's battery can last for long. And I need a phone that will last me a battery for long because I'm always on my phone and everything I use on the phone. And another thing is we check in terms of the capacity, memory, RAM, because nowadays we use documents. We don't have to go to offices to get documents. We just get documents online, register, and then file it back, email it back.
Based on our data, 75% of the South African market is less than 3,500 Rand. That's 75% of the market. That's where everything happens. And that's the huge, of course, it's in terms of the units. When we then go on in that particular segment, you still see that there are segments that are there. We've got entry, which is the lower end of the market, which you will see devices costing less than 1,000 Rand. The Nokia C1 did exceptionally well in that particular segment.
Chinese brand Honor was once a part of Huawei but has since seceded. They say even though they are an unknown brand, they too have what South Africans are looking for.
Actually, Honor is not a new brand in South African market. Actually, we launched Honor 50 series in 2020. And it was the elegant and fashioned smartphone. It has been granted the best vlog phone by Tom Videos. So even this month, Honor X series has been launched here. Its sleek design and the best night mode camera has given a fantastic experience to our consumers. And by the way, next month we will launch our flagship product, which is Magic 4 series in South African market.
Having seen some locals pledging loyalty to their brand of choice, only time will tell how the up-and-coming mobile devices will perform in this market.
It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we visit a conversation we recently had about World Telecoms Day.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, the World Telecommunications and Information Society Day took place recently. Here, the International Telecommunications Union was hoping that the day would be used to observe the important role played by the technologies we use to communicate. In South Africa, there was an event that was organized by Tech Talk. Andile April is here to tell us all about what was going on World Telecoms Day. Hello, and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Andile. What exactly is the importance of this day?
The day, World Technology and Information Society Day, is all about raising awareness of the ICT environment, information and communication technology, possibility of the use of technology in helping bring about change in society and the economy. But importantly, it raises awareness of the digital divide.
Andile, how was it observed in South Africa?
We hosted an engagement whereby we invited various partners and players in the telecom space. These partners varied from your regulator, which was ICASA, where we also had Vodacom, one of the big players in the space. We had Vodacom Business, Nexio, ITC, Cisco, and we had the chairperson of ICASA, Dr. Kiabetswe, giving a keynote address. Of course, part of his keynote message touched on issues of spectrum. He also touched on the cost to communicate. Of course, then the engagement was all about bringing all these stakeholders in order to start a conversation to celebrate and commemorate the day.
What were some of the issues that came out there?
In terms of cost to communicate, so ICASA touched on the price matter, which also is aligned to the spectrum and the auctioning of licensing of the spectrum. As you would know, currently there are engagements around the licensing of spectrum where companies were engaging on those serious issues. Of course, that speaks to the cost of data prices. We've been fast-tracked by COVID-19 as a society to adapt digital platforms. People are working from home, and people are making use of technology such as Uber, such as delivery services, which speaks to the cost to communicate because people are on the internet. So the chairperson of ICASA was talking about that, and his message is that spectrum and the issue of cost to communicate is a high priority for the regulator. Of course, we also had other partners such as Nexio talking about some of their solutions, what they are doing in terms of the education space and the issue of trying to help organizations in terms of storage. Those are some of the issues or topics that we covered on the day.
How have telecoms evolved from when we used to use the telephone to just make a phone call?
Spumayelo, the way I see it is like before COVID-19, the buzzword was the fourth industrial revolution. And companies were trying to grapple with adjusting and adapting to how then they are going to integrate fourth industrial revolution in their businesses. Came COVID-19, we're fast forwarded to like 10 years ahead of time. And whether we liked it or not, companies were forced to adjust and use some of the technology. So we are there. Companies are making use of technology. Most of their employees are working from home, and they are using cell phones and tablets working from home. People are no longer going to offices as before COVID-19. Of course, people have also ventured into using their phones in terms of delivery services for food. And education is happening online. people have adapted or started using Uber services. So a lot has changed since COVID-19, and people are adopting technology in their day-to-day lives.
And in April, thank you very much for being a part of our network.
It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
Forget fumbling for your phone or hunting for your wallet at the checkout. Instead, pay using your face with the next generation biometric technology being rolled out by MasterCard. The biometric checkout program will allow the technology that can already unlock your phone, pay the bill.
We are really excited about launching our new biometrics checkout program today. It's a cool new technology which allows consumers to pay with a smile, their face, or just wave. So you can forget the clunkiness of taking your wallet out or your devices out or cards out. You just do your shopping, you go to the checkout and just pay with your face. It's as simple as that.
Commercial applications of facial recognition technology already in use include a fast food outlet in Hangzhou, China, that has allowed diners to pay by face-to-face since 2017. MasterCard introduced the pilot earlier this month in Brazil with the PayFace app. The company says it's also working with Pay by Face, Pop ID, and Fujitsu Limited. And now in the USA. WhatsApp is introducing free cloud-based API services in a push to get more businesses using the app, Meta Platform CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced at the company's messaging event.
Businesses want to be where people are. We saw that with Feed, and then Stories, and now Reels and messaging. The best business experiences meet people where they are. Already, more than 1 billion users connect with a business account across our messaging services every week. They're reaching out for help, to find products and services, and to buy anything from big-ticket items to everyday goods. And today, I am excited to announce that we're opening WhatsApp to any business of any size around the world with WhatsApp Cloud API.
WhatsApp already has an API or type of software interface for businesses to connect their systems, which generates revenue.
TikTok is thinking of making people pay to use the platform. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you'd ever pay to use TikTok or any platform like it. And that's it. So that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is News Network at sabc.co.za. On email from me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the team at the Spotify Sounds of Africa event. Have a good one. Bye-bye.